We're sitting down with Nichols College men's ice hockey head coach Parker Burgess, recapping one of the most successful seasons in program history. The Bison went to the second round of the NCAA tournament for the first time in program history. Coach, you guys really seem to turn the corner this year. Once you hit January, you hosted the Boston Collegiate Invitational. You guys defeated St. Thomas at Elmira. It was a big alumni event. There was some former Bruins in attendance. We had Renee Rancourt here, big alumni function. Just talk about the event as a whole and how it helped you guys kind of get going.
Yeah, so I think the first half of our season was, we knew going in that there was going to be, some ups and downs just like every season, and I thought we showed some really good things in the first half, and there were some things, that at semester break we knew that we had to kind of polish up going into the second half, and that tournament was an important one, not only because, we have so many alumni and parents that come to it, and, we were bringing in, three really, really good teams, and we knew it was going to be a competitive tournament, and it was a great turnout. A lot of people put a lot of work into that. Our advancement and development department here at Nichols, they put on a great event with Terry O'Reilly and a lot of our alumni, David Hale and John Maffio and David Fox, and all these guys were very present. And obviously in that environment, when you have so many eyes on you and you're representing, what they've come to see and their college and their alma mater, you want to put a good product on the ice. And, going up against St. Thomas, bringing them out from Minnesota and all the logistics that go into it, it was just, with the snowstorm we had too, it was just nice to make sure that we could get all four teams there to start with. And, I think our guys know, we've really worked hard to kind of turn this into one of the predominant D3 tournaments in the country. First year was about getting the kinks out and seeing what worked and what didn't. And now I think our guys have really understand how important this is to the Nichols community, the alumni and the administration and the people that come out to it. So I think our guys really rallied around that, and we had some really good showings by a lot of different guys. And to beat St. Thomas, obviously, that's my alma mater. That was a very sweet feeling for me, and it was not even just beating them, just getting an opportunity to coach against my mentor was a very special moment, and just giving ourselves an opportunity to play in the championship game against another, really, really competitive team in Elmira. They took it to us for a little bit, but, that, I think what that tournament did for us was it really showed our group, just how good we could be. We try to impress upon them from an early point of the season that, when we have everybody going, we can be really good. But if we have a couple passengers, we're very easily beatable. And I think a lot of teams, we just didn't have the talent to just show up. So I think that tournament was kind of a springboard to show the guys, hey, if everybody's going and everybody's pulling in the same direction, we got a really good hockey club. And it was nice. Anytime you get an opportunity to play for a trophy and hoist a trophy, doesn't matter if it's a tournament, a preseason tournament, alumni golf tournament for our guys, or a championship conference or national championship. Anytime you have an opportunity to win a championship and take that photo at the end of a tournament or end of a season, it's a special moment. And for us to win it for the first time in program history was just a great way for our group to start the second half.
Not only did you guys have a great group of teams there at the Boston Landing Collegiate Invitational, the CCC had 3 nationally ranked teams for the majority of the season. Nichols, ironically enough, was not one of them for most of the season. Following the BCLI, you guys knocked off Endicott, which was ranked number 2 in the country at the time. I believe it was their first conference loss of the year. And then you get in the playoffs, but you're the number 5 seed. You've got UNE, you've got Salve, you've got Endicott, these nationally ranked programs who have the higher seeds, and Curry jumped you guys late in the season. So you went on the road for the first time since you've been here, and for the first time in a number of years for the Bison starting on the road. What did you tell the team going in to that conference tournament again, starting on the road? And then talk about just what it meant to wear the black jersey and how that kind of became something symbolic for your team.
Yeah, I think, to be quite honest, I know it sounds pretty simplistic, but we talked about it right from the get-go. Actually, in our first staff and coaches meeting, we sat down as a group for probably over 8 hours, and we just kind of went over and every detail that could happen in the season. And one of the messages we had is, there's 10 teams in our conference, and does it really matter if we finish 1st or 8th? I mean, yes, I guess in theory it does, and home ice is kind of nice, but we're not talking about a best of 3 or a best of 5 or a best of 7. Home ice for a one-game showdown, and where the travel isn't that bad in our conference, I don't know if it's that much of an advantage, to be honest. And I've been here 2 years where home ice has almost put the pressure on us. And I've said it before, we've really put a focus and an emphasis on forget about long-term goals, forget about what place we're going to finish or what we're ranked nationally and things like that. Let's just really do our best to be 1-0 in our next game. And I know I talked about it a little bit in our preseason meeting and our conversations from before, and that was really our mindset all season long. Like, forget the record. As long as we finish 8-10 and we get an opportunity to be in the playoffs, that's all that matters. And whether you're at home against whoever or on the road against Curry in the first round, you have to be 1-0 in that game, or else you don't get it tomorrow. So I think our guys were really ready for that challenge, and it didn't really faze them. I think it almost rallied us. Like, hey, perfect, let's go on the road. It kind of paves the way. We've always kind of had a little bit of a renegade identity. The guys, I don't know how it got involved with anything, but, they like to consider themselves almost like pirates. They had the black jerseys, and I know our fans that were traveling with us in the party buses and stuff, they were flying the Jolly Roger flags, and everybody was wearing black and, Oakland Raiders hats and things like that. So it kind of really just brought out our identity. Like, we're going to go on the road and nobody's going to give us anything, but we just have to take it and we have to earn it. And I think it was something that really brought our group together. And, after that Curry game, after that, I think our guys really found a comfort zone. We got down 2-0 early, but we battled back, and then we, heartbreaker in the last 3 minutes for them to tie it up, and then we turn around and shows our resiliency. We go and score to win the game, and Colin makes a couple big saves, and we get a break at the end, and you find a way to win that first game against a really, really good Curry team. I mean, they were ranked 2 in the top 15 at one point, and like they very well, if they beat us, they could have been the one that went all the way to the NCAAs. They were a good scrappy team, and it set us up for a game against Salve where they had swept us and shut us out twice, and you just knew that our guys had a little bit of a chip on their shoulders going into that one, and that's probably the most ready I've ever seen our guys is going into the Salve game. They played loose, they played fearless, and again, we got out to a nice lead. We were playing really well. 10-minute stretch, we kind of took our foot off the gas, and all of a sudden the game's tied. And again, it just it shows our resilience and some of the guys we have in the locker room with Hogan stepping up and scoring the game winner with less than 4 minutes. And I think once that happened, winning 2 games on the road against 2 very good teams, the way we did, it was almost like there was no chance we were going to lose that championship game. We went up there, and it was, and I've talked to Coach Swallow up at UNE. The pregame hype and the environment for that game is about as good as I've ever seen it for a college game. Kevin said the same thing, and it was just an awesome experience for our guys. They were totally locked in. We had alumni and parents and people stepping up and helping donate some money for us to go up a night early, which was amazing. The crowd of 250 people and fan buses that came up, I mean, if you're a player, how do you not get pumped up for that? So I think our guys were ready, and we settled in. Vinny scored a goal on the first shift, and I've been here 3 years, and we have not played a better hockey game than that game. I mean, we thought it was going to be a 3-2 overtime kind of a battle, and to go out there and play the game we did was, it was an incredible feeling to win it. And it was something I'll never forget. I don't think we would have scripted it that way, but to put 3 wins together against 3 teams is an awfully impressive feat for our guys.
Well, let's just be honest about it. I mean, you really surprised the hockey world going from the 5 seed, not just to win the tournament, but defeating the 3 teams that you did to get there is something that really kind of stunned the D3 hockey world at that point. So you go from most of the season being outside of the top 15 rankings to not only going to the NCAA tournament, not only knocking Endicott out as the number 2 team at one point in the country, but you're hosting. So Nichols now hosts their first NCAA tournament game. They were 0-3 in the past. You guys play Fitchburg State. You get a 3-1 win with the empty net. And then you go up to Salve again. You play real close. You lose by a goal late in the contest. 1 goal from going to the Frozen Four. Talk about hosting that NCAA tournament game, what that meant for the kids and the program and just the Nichols community as a whole.
Yeah, I think, it's something that we did, definitely didn't expect. And we might be the only team in the history of the NCAA sports to have to go on the road for 3 conference playoff games and then get the opportunity to host an NCAA game. So, unique situation. It was definitely an exciting one watching the selection show and seeing that we were going to host that first round game and really just have an opportunity to do something that the hockey program here at Nichols hadn't done before. And they've had some phenomenal teams here in the past that I'm sure were just as good and just as close. It's hockey, so it's a bounce here or there. And I think the thing that, to be quite honest, I'm most proud of is just the way that this this college and the community and the athletic department really stepped up. That was a really tough time in terms of an administrative point of view. All our kids were out on spring break, and I'm sure a lot of the coaches and administrators in the department and in the college would have loved to have taken their spring break too. But credit to our athletic director Chris Colvin and Dale Olmstead, our football coach, and his entire staff. Karen Gurnon, who puts on the fan buses, and just everybody in the athletic department. Demir Pesa, Pete DeVito, everybody just really came together and volunteered their time and their efforts to make it work. And I was just so proud of Nichols as a whole on how we put it on. It was professional. It was first class. The experience for the student athletes on both teams, because of how professionally it was treated, it was almost like a Division I experience for these kids, and something that, win or lose for either team, they were never going to forget. And even our rink manager, Chris Lacey over in Burrillville, to be able to promote it, to the town of Burrillville, we packed that place. It was a sellout without any students being on campus. I mean, that's an impressive feat for Nichols and for the Burrillville and Dudley communities, and just a great experience for the guys. And Fitchburg, we knew was going to be a scrappy, hard-fought team, and our guys had another week of practice. And again, it was just the 1-0 mentality, to go in there and just let's live to. Again, it sounds so simplistic, but we didn't have any goals. There was never once a long-term goal this season on winning a championship or winning a playoff game, or let's go to the NCAAs, or let's go to the Frozen Four or win a national championship. When we got an opportunity, to make the playoffs, we knew that, going into the quarterfinal game, let's just earn an opportunity to practice together. And I think this group really loved each other. And going into that Fitchburg game, it wasn't about let's get an opportunity to play Salve again in the quarterfinals. It was, hey, we're having a lot of fun doing this, and the energy and the attitude's pretty positive, and we're not ready to not be a family anymore. So let's just empty the tanks, and hopefully we can practice again. We were able to take care of business, and the boys made history in winning that game, and gave us an opportunity to see a very good Salve team again. And again, the mentality was to just be 1-0. We didn't talk about going to the Frozen Four. Everybody knew what was at stake, and it was just, let's be 1-0 so that we get to ultimately practice every week we can together. And it was just a phenomenal hockey game. I think it was 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3. And then we had some chances late, and they got the last goal. And I know it's a cliche thing a lot of coaches say, but I don't know if we really lost the game or if we just ran out of time to get that fourth one. Would have loved to see that one go into overtime. But hats off, Salve goes in and loses in double overtime in the national championship game, and it goes to show how close we were. And just to be able to look back on the season with just such a full heart and just in such a positive light. I mean, it's the most fun I've ever had, playing or coaching hockey. That's for sure. And I think a lot of our players would probably tell you the same thing.
As tough as an ending it was, it really gives the future a lot of hope. There's a lot of bright days down the road for Nichols. Talk about how the summer's been so far in terms of recruiting. You lose some, not many kids, but you lose some big kids. You lose Scotty Cothrell, Colin Brennan, and DJ Goldstein, Chris Deming, to name a few of them. But talk about the level of recruits that are coming around now. This conference has really become, if not the elite conference in Division III, among the top two.
Yeah, and I think maybe the misconception is, hey, you guys won the conference and went to the NCAA quarterfinals, so the recruits must be rolling in. And I think, more than anything, that it's definitely helped our cause. But if you look, I mean, UNE ended up in the NCAA tournament and number 8 in the country, and Salve was the number 2 team in the country and the runner-up in the national championship, and Endicott was number 2 in the country for a lot of the season, and they're not getting any worse, and Curry's getting better, and Wentworth's getting better. And all it does for us is it just gives us an opportunity to stay on par with a lot of those huge programs. And hopefully for us, we're really, really excited about our freshman class coming in. It's been a year process, and it's still not quite over. We're making a trip to Sweden here soon, and just both myself and our staff, we've kind of been all over the place trying to find our next class, for next year and the year after, and we're definitely excited about it. And this conference is just, it's a juggernaut. There's no easy games, and we're losing Suffolk and JWU, so you're adding a couple more games against Salve and UNE. It's not getting any easier. It's only going to be tougher. The coaches in this conference are just relentless competitors and relentless recruiters. So it's an awesome challenge. I think our conference is in such a good place. We got some young coaches who just do a phenomenal job. It's a lot of fun. Everybody's really passionate, and we're excited. We like what we have coming back. We got a great nucleus. It's tough to replace the Scotties and the DJs and Collins, but some other guys are going to have to work hard in the summer and step up, and some of the incomers are going to get thrown right into the fire. And I think sometimes when you have the success that we did towards the end of the year, everybody thinks like that's where you leave off, like that's where you start off next year, wherever you left off this year. And really, it's not the case. I mean, we're not guaranteed anything next year. Just because we had a good year this year, again, our goal next year is just we're breaking it all down, and the goal is just going to be to make the playoffs. Be 1-0 in each game, and give yourself an opportunity to be in the playoffs. And if you do that, whether you're on the road or at home, just by getting in, it gives you a chance. And I think you see that at every level of hockey. Just it's such a close game. There's so many little bounces that if you can give yourself a chance at the end of the year to be healthy and be playing good hockey and be in the playoffs, then then you can make a little noise. So that's what we're looking to do. A little time off would be nice at some point, I think, but we'll see when that'll happen.
First home game for the Bison this year, November 2nd. It's a Friday night. They'll take on the Leopards of Wentworth. Parker, before we go here, talk about the golf tournament that's coming up in September.
Yeah, a date should be announced here in the next week or two, but it'll definitely be in September. We're doing our best to kind of coincide it with homecoming, so that a lot of the hockey guys can come back and spend some time on campus and come to a football game and support a lot of different sports, but also come to the golf tournament and have a little fun and tell some stories and catch up and reminisce. And it's just such a great event. It's really not about making money and things like that. Obviously, we do our best to kind of supplement our budget by fundraising through the golf tournament, but it's more for a bunch of different generations to get together, meet some of our current players, meet some of the staff if we haven't had a chance to meet you. So it's just a great event. We're doing it at Blackstone again. They've put it on, and they do a great job there. And I know our guys are already. I think we got 5 or 6 guys that are staying around campus, already training and skating and things like that. So I know our guys are going to put in the work, and we're excited for what the roster's shaping up to be and what's to come in the fall.
Parker, I want to thank you for taking the time to sit down with us. Again, throughout the summer, fans, you can follow the Bison on social media at NC Bison to keep up with the hockey team. And always, NicholsAthletics.com has everything you need for the Bison. Thanks again, Parker.
Awesome. Thanks, Pete.